Hello students, in this video we're going to learn how to solve the problem sums involving percentage. The questions are from assignment 8A. Let's do a quick recap. The word percent is originated from the Latin phrase percentum, which means per hundred or out of every 100. So the symbol that is shown on the screen is used to represent percent. So if you see 50 and then with the symbol, a 0 and then a slash and another 0 at the bottom, it is read as 50%. And how do we convert X percent into a number, into a fraction? So basically, X percent is just X over 100. And if you want to convert 100% to a number, it is just 100 over 100 equals 1 whole. So 200% to represent 2 whole, 300% represent 3 whole. Right, let's look at the first question. We asked to express each of the following percentages as a fraction or a mixed number, and then as a decimal. Let's look at the first question. So 159% is equals to 159 over 100. So as a fraction, this will be 1 whole, 59 over 100. And as a decimal, it will be 1.59. All right. If you have forgotten how to do that, just look at the denominator. There are 2 zeros here, right? So you start and put the decimal point after the number 9, and then you move it to the left 2 times, 2 zeros, so 2 times 1, 2. So that's how you end up 1.59. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, right, so we need to convert this to a fraction first. Right, so we're going to multiply 0.3 to make it as a whole number. We're going to multiply it with 10. And you can't just multiply at the numerator, you also need to do it at the denominator. So this will give you 3 over 1000. So this is what the answer is as a fraction, and to put it as a decimal number, 3 zeros here, right? Put the decimal point after the number 3 and then shift 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that will gives you 0 point, and all this little what they call a groove, you replace it with 0. So it's 0.003. All right, so this is how we do it. Right, let's look at the next question. The next question is to convert each of the following numbers as a percentage. So to convert it as a percentage, all we need to do is multiply it with 100%. Now this is something very important. When you multiply it with 100%, you're basically just multiplying with 1 whole. Because remember, in the earlier slide, we explained that 100% it's 100 over 100. Actually, it's just 1 whole. Right, so be very careful that you have to make sure the symbol, the percent symbol is there. If you write it as 9.124 times 100, then this is wrong, okay? Because you are actually changing the questions. The answer you get will become 912.4. So you are saying that 9.124 is equals to 912.4, which is wrong. Okay, so therefore, you have to make sure that the percent symbol must be there. So let's shift the decimal place to the right. So 12, so that gives us 912.4%. Okay, let's look at D. Right, so you can just cancel off the 2 zeros. So there will be 11 over 40%. Right, let's look at the problem sum now. So we have a company, and this company has 12,000 employees. So let's write it down. So there are 12,000 employees. So we're going to let these 12,000 employees be 100%. And during a downsizing exercise, 2.5% of them were retrenched. 50.75% of them had a pay cut, and the rest were unaffected. So we asked to find the number of employees who were unaffected by the downsizing, right? So the number of employees, because it's a problem sum, so it's best to write appropriate statement. Number of employees who were unaffected when you write statement, then you make your presentation clearer. So number of employees who were unaffected by the downsizing will be 100%, minus away 2.5%, minus 50.75%. Right. In this questions, we're asked to provide some explanation. We're asked to explain, is X% of 330? This is your first part. The second part is 330% of X. This is the second part. So we are asked to explain if which one is greater in value. Is it the first part that's having a bigger value than the second part, or the second part has a bigger value than the first part? All right, so not to worry, we'll do it part by part. So let's work out the first part. So X% of 330, we're going to convert it to a number, which is X over 100 times of 330 means times 330. Right, and 330 we can write it as a fraction. Put it as a fraction is 330 over 1. Right, so we're going to multiply the numerator, then multiply the denominator. So that will give us 330x over 100 And if you're going to convert it to a decimal number, it's easier to compare decimals than fraction. Right, so this will gives you 3.3x. Okay, let's do the other one. The second part is 330% of x. And that will be 330 divided by 100 times x. That's right, x is a fraction, is x over 1. So that gives us 330x over 100. And that gives us 3.3x. And what do you observe? Yes, actually they have the same value. So from the above, x% of 330 has the same value as 330% of x. Right, if you're running out of steam, don't give up. This is the second last question. We're ending this assignment very quickly. We have this girl here, Siti. She wants to hire a secretary. All right, so she's a boss. She gives a typing test, or she may not be a boss, never mind. She could be just helping a boss to hire a secretary. She gives a typing test to the 3 applicants who applied for the job. And the following table shows the result. So we need to find out which applicant is the best typist. Right, so the applicants are classified as A, B, and C. So applicant A are able to type 214 words in 3 minutes, and she made 17 error. Or she or he. Okay, this secretary can be a male, so doesn't matter. Right, so we have to find out which applicant is the best. Okay, so how do we go about doing this? Yes, I think what we need to do is we need to find the number of words that are typed correctly in 3 minutes. Okay, and then we do a comparison. So this is how we're going to do it. Right, so because this question involves so many applicants, it's important that we write proper statement. Okay, so the number of words typed correctly in 3 minutes. Okay, so for applicant A will be 214 minus 17, 197. And then for applicant B will be 252 minus 20. That gives you 232. 229 minus 18. That will give you 211. Right, so we're going to convert all this number into a percent. So 197 into a percent will be 197 over the total number of words typed in 3 minutes is 214 times 100%. Right, and you can leave your answer to 3 significant figure, which is 81.7%. So you do the same for the second applicant B. All right. Why do I change the answer? Initially, I said put your answer as three significant figure, right? Then I realized that when I put the answer to three significant figure, this one is 92.1. This one also give us 92.1. So you can't really do any comparison, right? When both of the answers are the same. So therefore, I change it to 2 decimal places, 4 significant figures, so that we can do a better comparison, right? So from the above, all right, from the above calculations, okay, we can see that applicant C is the best typist. Okay, because she has the highest percentage of accuracy. So we don't have to worry about this 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 6 minutes. You just compare their typing, how accurate they are in terms of their typing, and convert it to a percentage, and then you compare the percentages. Right, so in this last question, we have this girl Joyce. So she donated 10% of her annual income to charity in 2022. 2023, she donated 12%. So somebody said in 2023 that she was more charitable in 2023 because she donated 12%, which is 2% more than her 10% in 2022. But Joyce said, no, I'm not more charitable in 2023. Actually, I donated the same amount. So do you think Joyce's statement could be true? Yes, if you have looked at the previous examples we've done, right, we can't just look at these two percentages and say that since 12% is more than 10%, so she donated more. We can't say that because we do not know how much was her annual income in 2022 and her annual income in 2023. This amount of this annual income is very important. It's from this annual income that we can get the value, like 10% of annual income, we can get the value. So without knowing how much her annual income is, we just can't do a comparison. So therefore, but how can Joyce's statement could be true? So it can only be true if there's a reduction in her annual income. That means she earned lesser in 2023. So therefore, 12% of a lesser income, right, is possible to be equal to 10% of a bigger annual income. Okay, could be true because she could be earning lesser in 2023 as compared to 2022. Okay. Right, now let's look at part B, part 2. So for part 2, we are told that Joyce's annual income is between 30,000 and 40,000, suggests a possible amount. So when it says suggest a possible amount, it means that everyone's answer may not be the same. My answer, I could have said that, okay, it's between 30,000 and 40,000. Okay, I guess it's 35,000. And your friend maybe guess 36,000 and kind of thing. But we need to justify your answer lah. You can't just say, I guess, and then that's my answer. Okay, so what we can do is that say in 2022, right, we let Joyce earning be 35,000, right? So donation, so she donated 10%, right? So donation amount will be 10 over 100 times 35,000. $3,500. Okay, so she donated 3,500. Now, so remember that she said that she donated the same amount. So in 2023, sorry, the donation amount was also 3,500. Okay, because she said she donated the same amount. So we're going to use this amount, right, to work backwards to find her annual income. Right, so remember that this 3,500 is 12%, it's 12% of the annual income. So it's 12%, 12% of her annual income, 3,500. So we have to find 1%. Right, so 1% would be divided by 12. And to find 100%, it will be 3,500 over 12 times 100%. Right, and that gives us 29,166.67 to 2 decimal places. Money is always expressed in 2 decimal places. Oh, okay, and this is the wrong, this is not correct. Because why not correct? Because the annual income must be between 30,000 and 40,000. So we end up getting 29,000, which is lesser than 30,000. Okay, so therefore your 35,000 is not a good guess. Okay, so we need to guess a higher number. Okay, so I purposely guessed a lower number and to show you that why this number is not correct. Okay, so now let's try a bigger number. How about 38,000? So that will give us 3,800, right? Okay. Yes, we end up having 31,666.67. And this amount is more than 30,000. So it satisfies this condition here. Okay, so therefore, yes, so Joy's annual income in 2023 is 31,666.67. Okay, so that ends assignment 8A.